Awesome. What do you think, Scott? Should we still wait or?
I think we can get going.
Okay, fantastic.
I'll continue to admit people as they come in.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that you're joining us on such short notice. My name is Jennifer Rowe. I'm the Executive Director of Folk Alliance International, and we really appreciate your time today. As you know, we're here to discuss important updates regarding our 2025 conference. Our goal is to provide transparency about the situation, outline the steps we're taking to address it, and answer any questions you may have. We understand how much planning in anticipation goes into attending our event, and we really want to reassure you that we are fully committed to delivering a meaningful and inspiring conference experience. I'm going to turn it over to Jared, who's our conference director, who will provide an overview of the issue and our decision-making process.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everybody. I'm Jared Rivers. I want to start by thanking you all for your understanding and support, as this is a tough time for our staff. Actually, my beard was not gray before we started this process. I'm kidding. But as you may have heard, the original hotel that we had booked for this conference is currently experiencing a workers' strike. After being advised by the Fairmont to move our event and careful consideration and discussion with our team and stakeholders, we made the decision to relocate the conference to an alternative venue. This decision was guided by practicality and by our commitment to ethical practices, as well as our respect for workers' rights. We carefully evaluated options in Montreal and selected a new hotel that meets the needs of our event. And while it is smaller than the original venue, it is well equipped to host the conference and ensure a great experience for all of you. And the guest rooms are less expensive for our attendees, which is great. I want to hand it back over to Jennifer to talk about some more details of the new venue.
Thanks, Jared. Definitely the expense of the conference hotel is an added value to our attendees. I want to just reiterate the Sheraton, which is where we're moving to. It's only a block away from the Fairmont, so it's really close to where we were before. It offers excellent meeting space, accommodations, and amenities to support all of our planned showcases, panels, and other activities. I toured this hotel back in 2017 when we were looking for our 2019 conference, and again in early 2023. I'm familiar, Jared was familiar, so it was a fairly easy, I mean, it certainly wasn't an easy transition at all, but we're very fortunate, frankly, with the hotel and that it's available because they really moved mountains to make this possible for us. We were also looking at the convention center and found out quickly that that was not going to be an option. It was not available. We were the second group on the choice list, so that wasn't an option. And it does not look promising that the Fairmont will that it will be resolved in time. So I want to shout out to the Sheraton. Our staff person that we've been working with, Cedric, has been phenomenal. And the whole team, Jared, Alex, and I went to visit this past weekend and looked at every single space, tried to envision how we're going to use every space. And we are using every inch of that hotel. And they are moving groups to make sure that we can use every inch of that hotel. And it's just quite amazing that they're willing to accommodate this very last minute. Cedric worked at the Fairmont back in 2019 when we had our conference in Montreal last. So he understands the value of our conference and did not want to lose out or have Montreal lose out on this experience. And there was a real threat that we would have to cancel if we didn't have a hotel to host our event at. So this was more major than I think people understand. This was a true threat for our conference. And so we're incredibly grateful that the Sheraton is helping us work this out. And I know that changing a venue can bring a lot of concerns. It's certainly brought us concern, but we have been working really diligently to adjust our plans as seamlessly as possible. And we are confident that we can still deliver rich programming and community connections that we're known for. I mean, there are so many jamming and lobby spaces in this hotel. We're going to be set for that. And I'm excited to see how people use this space because it is more vertical. It's kind of similar to the Sheraton in New Orleans, where it's a very vertical space. I also want to point out some questions that we've already received. One of the biggest questions is, what's going to happen with your Fairmont reservation? If you made a reservation at the Fairmont through our room block, it will automatically be canceled. So they will be doing that soon. I'm hoping to talk to the Fairmont later today to finalize that process. And what else? Our Sheridan, we are still in the process of finalizing the reservation link. We have it, but there's some kinks in it and want to make sure that everything is worked out before we pass it along to all of our registered attendees. We want to make sure that this is as seamless as possible. We have a very large room block. Our room block is equivalent to all the room reservations plus showcases and that we had at the Fairmont. So it should be able to accommodate everybody that is here and that is registered and wants to stay at the hotel or already had a reservation at the Fairmont. We do anticipate that it will sell out quickly, especially since the room rate is less than what we have at the Fairmont. So our room rate at the Fairmont was $279. Our room rate at the Sheridan is $239. So that is a cost savings for everyone on that end. And then for those of you that are hosting a private showcase room, Jim, that's going to be a little bit of a different process, and Jim will be in contact with you. Jim's our private showcase coordinator, and you just look for an email to receive instructions about confirming your hotel reservation with the Sheridan. So now let's open it up for questions. Please use the raise hand feature or type your question in the chat, and we will answer as many questions as possible. And yes, Steve Ram, that is in Canadian dollars. That's a very good point. For the question, Shauna, we will receive an email confirmation from yes, the Fairmont will send you an email confirmation. We have some text in there as well, because I know not everybody's going to see our emails. So we will be hopefully placing a link in their cancellation email that indicates, check out our website for more information about this hotel switch. Any questions? Volunteers who have, Jared, maybe you can answer this questions. Volunteers have not been processed yet. Are volunteers processed yet?
Yes, Roisin is processing volunteers as they come in. She's been checking in every week. What I think is next on the list is placing volunteers on teams. So I think crew chiefs have been reached out to, and that's the next step. We plan on having all volunteers have their schedules about a month in advance of the event.
Great. But I guess the main question is that they do have a registration code, code. And so our goal, our hope is that the reservation link for the Sheridan is available by Monday of next week. We will be sending that reservation code through our registration system to all the folks that are registered. And then moving forward, we will have a link in that like automated email response for anyone that registers for a conference moving forward. If you don't remember if you used the hotel block, you're welcome to call the Fairmont. You likely use the hotel block if you received the $279 rate because you weren't going to get that rate, but absolutely reach out to the Fairmont directly, or you can go and search your email and cancel directly. You're welcome to do that. There's no harm in canceling your room reservation directly if that makes you feel better. Please explain more about the request to raise. Okay, so our $150,000 year-end campaign, we do this every year. Folk Alliance is a nonprofit organization. The conference is one source of revenue that we receive, the conference registration and sponsorships, but that is not the entirety of what we receive. We rely on donations for our organization. Alex, if you want to give more information about our year-end donor campaign.
Sure. I mean, I think just to clarify that the $150,000 goal was already our existing goal for our end of year campaign. And we are marching towards that. We are relying on donors to continue our work. To clarify the additional, the truth is with this change to a new hotel, Folk Alliance was already in a year where our budget was incredibly tight. And now it's tighter, or we're looking at new unknown costs and less revenue.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but the change does put us at additional financial stress.
I'll speak more into that. So there are some additional costs in going to this new hotel. We negotiated very strongly with the Sheraton and decided that there was a higher value in giving the discounted rate to our registrants as opposed to Focal Alliance and having Focal Alliance take on some of that burden. So one of the biggest examples is the Sheraton not truly understanding the scope of the private showcases and storing beds and removing beds and how that worked. So we decided, instead of charging our private showcase host a higher room rate, that Folk Alliance would take would be charged the fee to remove beds. We already charge our host a small fee, but the reality is that it's going to cost about $600 or $700 for every single room that removes their bed. That's how much. Actually, Focal Alliance has taken on about $600 of that burden. So that's also the cost of doing business and hosting a conference, but those are added expenses that we were not anticipating. There's also a lot of revenue that Focal Alliance is losing out on because of the layout of the Fairmont. We had the ability to sell the third floor rooms for our private showcase host, as opposed to going to a reservation, as opposed to going to the hotel directly through reservations. That's revenue that we were expecting and budgeting. Now moving to the Sheraton, we do not have that revenue. And we also have the added cost of paying for the rooms that Folk Alliance hosts or pays for. So for example, we have the first timers room, the traditional room. We help cover some of our partners like the Black American Music Summit, and pay for those rooms. So those are additional costs that will be probably about maybe $15,000 in cost to Folk Alliance. So there are added, I'm estimating $50,000 to $75,000 more that we expect. This is why we have a reserve and why we are so incredibly grateful for the donors that have been supporting us financially throughout the years. I see some questions about private showcases. I just want to give a huge shout out to Jim Schultz. Jim Schultz is our private showcase coordinator. Alex, Jared, and I again spent some time at the hotel this weekend and mapped over our stuff. Our stuff for like the ballroom level is complicated. What Jim has had to do is far more complicated. He had to move, I believe we had over 20 suite options at the Fairmont. At the Sheraton, there are 9. He had to move everybody into a different space. The great thing is that the hotel rooms are larger square footage. So the guest room is a larger space. And I think folks will be happy about that. The design and layout, there's only like around 30 rooms for each floor. Jim has been able to get it into 4 levels. So we'll be using the 7th through 10th floor. And it's going to be great. He has spent countless hours. I think he spent 10 hours on Saturday just trying to get a solid idea. And we communicated back and forth with him over the weekend. We checked rooms to figure out, are there connecting doors? The hotel learned a lot from this, now know how many connecting rooms there actually are in the hotel because their maps and data were completely wrong. So it's been fun to go through that process, but Jim has been really starting over. And a lot of our team has had to start over on things. The programming side, Cindy is in charge of that. We had a plan in place and exactly what rooms were going to be used. Cindy and Jared this afternoon are trying to remap that out. We figured out all the official showcases, but the programming is another piece. And so there are things that honestly we're behind on. We had to hit pause for about 7 to 10 days as we tried to figure out, like, is this a real thing? Are we going to have to move? We weren't sure. Like a Tuesday last week, I said, if I'm a betting person, I think it would be fine. And then our contact at one of the hotels, he's like, oh no, that's not the bet I would be making. So we figured out pretty quickly that we were going to have to pivot, but it did mean that we had to hit pause on stuff that we would normally be moving forward with, including sending the map of our private showcases to all of our hosts so that hosts then could share it with the artists so that they could start making, their digital ads and physical ads. So those are deadlines that we've pushed forward to a later date, and there's a lot of snowball effect with this, but what we're really good at is being agile and figure things out. Jared and I have been working here for 11 years, Alex almost 10 years, Cindy the same. So we've been doing this a long time, and an incredible team that supports us both as our staff and contractors to make this happen. And you all for being incredibly supportive of this transition. I'm sure I'm missing some questions. How does the new vendor room size compare with the Fairmont? What do you mean by that, John? Hi, John Casey. How are you doing? Do you want to unmute yourself and explain what you mean? And John, it's good to see you again. I saw you recently. The vendor, are you talking about the hotel?
Maybe the exhibit hall. I think people are thinking the vendor room is the exhibit hall. Yeah, there we go.
John, yes. So the exhibit are the same size. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, the exhibit hall is laid out differently. We lost a little bit of space, but it looks like it's mostly mapping over. So on that front, we're pretty good. One question I didn't hear if we brought it up exactly, but you were talking about Jim, and just to be really explicit about that, Jim is doing his best to map over amplified rooms to amplified rooms. The sizes of the rooms are different. It's a different architecture. And he's doing our best to keep the commitments that we've made and weighing everything against, the potential audience size, first right of refusal, all of the politics in the private showcase process, and not just politics, but all of the dynamics. So it's a real heavy lift, and he's doing a great job.
Cindy, are there any other questions that we missed in the chat? Oh, and I see Louise has a question. I'll answer hers first.
Hey, thank you. Now, this is all very helpful. This is a little off the subject, but the last time in Montreal, it seems we all got some kind of a border crossing document or letter. And I asked about that in chorus, but didn't see an answer yet. Is that something that will be happening?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks. I'm sorry for not answering that in chorus, but yes, we are updating our letter. We have already sent letters to all of our official showcase artists with the previous hotel information. We have that data, or we have a document on our website already, but we need to update it with the correct hotel. And we have informed the Canadian Border Service Crossing Agency, whatever that's called, with our updated hotel. We are registered with the Canadian Border Crossing, so they are familiar with our event, and just, yes, have a letter. We should email that out to all of our registrants. Is Tisha on the call? And have that as a something that we do, but it is available on our website, but I don't think we've updated it yet. Have we, Jared?
It is not updated with the new hotel, which is the only change. And so we can absolutely do that, Jen. We'll update it on our website so anyone can go get it anytime they want. And then we'll also email it to all delegates right before you travel so that it's at the top of the inbox when you're ready to leave.
The other thing that I will note, as we were at the Sheraton this weekend, we saw a very long line of folks at the reservation desk as they're checking in. The Sheraton has online access through the Bonvoy app. So we'll do this. We'll also encourage people over email, but get your Bonvoy app so that you can check into your room remotely as opposed to standing in line. And that will save you a lot of time, because they were not fully staffed, but they had a long line with almost every reservation desk there.
I did want to address a couple of we haven't exactly answered this, I don't think, but George is asking, as a host, when to contact private showcase artists about the hotel change. Feel free to let them know at any point. Jim will be in contact with you with your new room number, and but the schedule will remain excuse me, the same. So if you've already built your schedule, you are welcome to just tell them, hey, I'm waiting for the room number, but you're still at 10:30 p.m. That type of a thing.
I'm pretty positive Jim hopes to have that finalized this week. Is that correct, Jared? And thank you, Cindy. Is there direct access to the underground? No, that is a really good point. Bring your jacket. That is one of the more challenging parts of this hotel. Granted, it's only one city block away, so you're not very far. It is cold in February in Montreal. Everybody should know that. But what is happening is the hotel is actively finding solutions for food that are at a decent price point in the hotel. They will have grab and go options for sandwiches and salads that are around 12 to 13 Canadian dollars. So it's a really reasonable price point. So we're excited that they're working with us to provide those food options at the hotel. But again, the food court that's underneath the Fairmont, frankly, is one large city block away. So think about that. The total number of private showcase rooms. I think we have maybe. Actually, I'm not exactly sure how many private showcase rooms are finalized. We closed the applications a week and a half ago as we were anticipating this change and have capped out, I believe, because of that. But it is full. The 4 floors are full, but I don't know exactly how many private showcase rooms there are. Do you know that answer, Jared?
I do know that it's, to answer Neil's question, it is the same. The only reason that would change is if for some reason a host drops out.
Yeah.
And then the number would decrease. It will not go up.
The elevator situation, I'll answer that one out loud. They are brand new elevators and they're fast elevators. There are only 6 elevators that are going up and down, but as we transition from official showcases into private showcases, there are alternative options for getting upstairs. So they will allow us to use the back of house elevators, which are additional 3 elevators. They're not updated elevators, they're slower, as well as stairs. There are stairs from the 4th through the 7th floor. So we want to get your exercise. You can take the stairs as well. And going back to the verticalness of the space, there are 5 levels. It's actually technically 6. There's the lobby level, and you go down to level A and level B. And then there's level 2 above the lobby, 3 and 4. So we are using level 2, 3, and 4, A and B for our programming, but there's great and easy access from escalators, stairs, and elevators to all of those, I said 6 levels if you include the lobby. Am I missing any other? Okay. When I reserved for 2, but now, okay, Celine. Yeah, so one of the things that we're missing, or the reason why we're holding off on the Sheridan reservation, is to make sure that the Sheridan has the proper number of doubles and king rooms. They need to map that out, so that we can make sure that we accommodate our people, get their double rooms or solo rooms. They're trying to figure out their inventory, and we want to make sure it's correct before we make it live. There's a question about the parking situation. Parking is not managed by the Sheridan. They have an independent parking company below. I don't know what the rate is. We can look that up.
$49 overnight.
Okay. Thanks,
Canadian.
Jared.
You're welcome.
And then I know Artist, we do have a place for offsite buses that Jared has access to as well. I know it's by the Costco. That's all I know. So we are in communication with folks that need that oversized vehicle location. You can reach out to us. Any other questions from folks? Well, I really appreciate the people. Does the Sheridan does not have an airport shuttle. Alex used to live in Montreal. What's the easiest way to get from the cheapest way to get from the airport to downtown? Is the metro an option?
I know that there's a public transit option. Oh, Jacinthe says it's the 747 bus. Thank
That's
you.
right.
That's the cheapest option. And the metro is really good in Montreal.
One of the great, my favorite pages on the Fairmont's website was actually how to get to the Fairmont from the airport, and it listed every single option and the costs for it. The Fairmont is only a block away from the Sheraton, so the options don't change. So I might head over to the Fairmont's website, grab that language, and just throw it over to ours.
And Jonathan Campbell, will folks that reserve Fairmont rooms outside of the FAI block get the Sheraton link automatically? No. The only people that will get the Sheraton link automatically are those who are currently registered or those who register for the conference. And we're doing this primarily because a lot of folks reserve a room at the host hotel without making a commitment. We are 2 months away from our conference, and we need to have those rooms available for those that are registered. We have our sponsors. We've also sent it to our sponsors as well. Of course, most of our sponsors will be registered. They're coming. So that's the way that we decided to manage the reservation link, is to provide it to only folks who are registered for the conference. In January, this is for right now. Right now, we're wanting to prioritize the folks that are registered. In January, after we feel like we've communicated successfully to everyone, it's the holidays. Next week is the Christmas holiday, and people are already out and not answering their emails. We will wait until early in the new year to communicate more. We're going to look at our reservation link at the Fairmont, or who's made reservation and who is missing over here, and do some direct asks, because we know that folks will miss this information. So we're going to be doing that before we make that link available publicly on our website. But again, it's going to be only available to folks who have registered for the conference. And another reality is that the hotel is less expensive. So there might be folks who chose to be at a different hotel, but are going to move to the host hotel because of the cost savings. Other parking options, we can look into that to see what the other parking options are. As far as getting a better rate, to be completely honest, right now our staff is a little tapped out at what we can do. That's something that we can, as we get closer to the conference and things get a little bit less chaotic and we have things in place, that's something we could go back to. But we can certainly ask our hotel contact to reach out to them. I would ask him if that's normal, frankly. Is it still possible that a band on the waiting list yes, a wait list person may still get a spot. If not, can they cancel now for a refund? For a conference registration refund, we have a cancellation policy. Tisha, do you mind putting that link in the chat, the cancellation policy? So our cancellation policy still stands. We do have movement on our official showcase list all the way up to the conference. Things happen, people get sick. And Tisha just put the cancellation policy. We can always move things. At least I think he did. Oh no, she hasn't put that yet. That was Cindy. Anyways, people can cancel the conference. There is a policy within the registration. Anything else? Okay, greetings from Montreal. Although I participate as a newbie in New Orleans, I never tried, well, this is going so fast I can't keep up, but never tried to participate in a private room. This time, as things are in my hometown, I tried as a first timer. Is it possible to perform? Joanne, we do have a first timers. Oh, I guess you're not a first timer. I would say I would reach out to some of your hosts that are from Montreal to see if they have rooms in their private showcase room to accommodate your performance, and reach out to people that you know. I imagine that you know folks in the community that are hosting rooms. I always encourage you to reach out to folks that you know first, and to network with other people that have, especially if you attended the conference in New Orleans. I would say that getting a private showcase is sometimes the more challenging part of attending the conference. It's navigating who has rooms or who has spots. Most of our hosts are at a point where they've mapped out their room, but not everyone is. It is We don't manage that process. Is the deadline in January for conference app and paid ads? Yes, Alex said, the deadline is January 8th, and you can reach out to him or Eve. He put those addresses in the chat. So the hotel link, we are not prioritizing who gets the reservation link for the Sheraton over, we are giving it to all conference registrants. It doesn't matter if you booked at the Fairmont or not. We don't really have a way to easily divide those. Everyone who's registered for the conference will receive that email at the same time. I want to reiterate, we have a large room block. I do not envision that our room block will be sold out before the end of this calendar year. I think it will be sold out in early January, but it will take a while for people to make their room reservations. We have about 700 rooms on peak each night. On our big night, 720, I think. That's a lot of rooms. But with that being said, we have around 700 rooms already, or maybe under 700 at the Fairmont right now, already booked. Thank you, Tisha, for putting in the cancel policy.
There's
Alex?
a question here that I don't fully understand, and I think it might be best to have the person ask it. Hey, Elaine, your question about reservations made through FAI, and does that change cancellations for the room? I don't understand what the question is. Do you mind just asking and kind of clarifying that?
I think she's
Could you
talking.
answer that?
I think
Oh.
she's talking about the room block. So if you made a reservation for the Fairmont, and Elaine, if you can unmute yourself if this isn't
Yeah,
it.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify, and I put this question in later, because you said you didn't want people, and I don't mind making the reservation through your block, but you said you want to make sure people make it through the block because they might be uncertain of whether they're going to attend or not.
Oh,
But
actually, okay, sorry, finish your
I
question.
just wanted to know, does that affect the cancellation policy or
No,
for the hotel?
the cancellation policy with the hotel remains with the policy with the hotel, which is usually, I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think it's
Yeah,
like,
2 to 3 days or something, I think.
yes. The reality is there are no rooms available at the inn other than our hotel block. You will not be able to make a reservation
Okay.
at Sheraton without going through our block, because they have taken up every single room in that hotel to accommodate our event. They have obligations to serve via rail in the airport, but every other room we are grabbing. Unless there's a,
Okay, so it's just but the hotel reservation, a cancellation policy stays the same. And,
Correct.
and while I have you here, that extends the whole week? Like if we are coming in like Tuesday, do you know?
yeah, there are
Um,
shoulder days, and we do have that rate for a couple days before. We have less room nights on those shoulder days. But normally when we see those nights being sold out, we'll go to the hotel and say, hey, can you add a couple more nights or a couple more rooms to that night? I don't recall what our contract states, but we absolutely have that Tuesday night and the Sunday night after. Those are part of our room block.
Okay, great, thanks.
Absolutely. What other questions? Have first timer showcase been fully booked? Jared or Marina, I don't know if Marina's on here. Have our first timer showcase rooms been fully booked yet?
I don't think we sent out the list because we were getting ready to send out the booking link for our first timers right when this happened. And so we paused to let Jim figure out how many rooms we were going to have for first timers. So this week we will know how many rooms we have, and then we will be able to send out the link for anyone who filled out the form asking for a spot in the first timers room. We always just start at the top of that list, first come, first serve until they book up. So if you got in early on that, no problem at all.
So I think it looks like the link is no longer available on our website. So that is closed, but we have not booked everybody yet. Let's see. We got the rate will be $239 Canadian. With taxes and everything, US dollars, it comes up to like 196 US, so approximately just under $200, depending on the exchange rate. Is there a date? The hotel? Yes, we hope to have that go down Monday. The dates are the same. You are signed up to arrive Monday and leaving Sunday. Yeah, you should be able to accommodate that. Mike, I would just encourage you to make sure you make that reservation as soon as you get the link. I think I've captured everything. Anyone's welcome to raise their hand or ask more questions or unmute themselves. I just want to reiterate, like, I really appreciate this community, and we've started talking to people last week when we were at like 90% this is happening. Especially our sponsors who, I mean, I just really super appreciate how supportive folks have been, and our team. This is a lot of work for our team, but yeah, I really appreciate it, all of you. Thank you. It is the best team, Craig. But it's the best team because we have an amazing community. Like, honestly, this community rocks. Yeah.
Alex, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to reiterate, this came up incredibly quickly. We had our eye on the situation at the Fairmont. The labor dispute has been ongoing since last summer. We've had our eye on it, but the recommendation from the Fairmont to change, that was not even 2 weeks ago.
It was exactly.
So it was 2 weeks, it was 2 weeks ago today.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just want to shout out especially to Jen and Jared, who are our main logistical masterminds. And the fact that we were able to map this over at all and so quickly is a bit of a holiday miracle. So just a big shout out. If Jared wasn't already a Spirit of Folk Award winner, I think he should get another one this year. Because this has been really huge. So yeah, thank you for your patience and your support. And also, if we're a little slow responding to a question, we're doing our best, and it does put us weeks behind in our planning.
Yeah.
Lee, I see you have a question.
I don't have a question. I just want to say out loud how blown away and impressed and thrilled I am at what all of you on the team have done. I mean, to move a conference of this scale on that kind of notice and come up with something that's actually going to work is just amazing. So yeah, definitely in the holiday miracle category.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah.
This is definitely, it's going to be epic because like what we had to do to make this happen. I'm excited about this conference. I do want to point out our staff, our office is closed from Christmas to the New Year. So our team will not be available to answer questions between the 25th and the 1st of January. We are in good hands. We'll be around in the new year and to answer any questions. But again, we hope to have that reservation link to you on Monday. Of course, hotel questions can go directly to the hotel during that time. Jeff Reese, you have a question. Please unmute yourself. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was for the New Orleans conference. I volunteered to meet with like 10 first timers, maybe the first day of the conference. And I think the last couple of years, you guys haven't done that. Are there plans? I had a blast doing that. And I just wondered if there were plans to do that for Montreal this year.
We have been doing it a little bit differently leading up to the conference, but that model we used before in the New Orleans day. We've been doing pre-conference meetups over Zoom. So we do one-on-one meetups over Zoom from like a signing up. And then we also are doing what we've called our elevator rides during the pandemic 2021 conference, where it's more of a networking. Those will be announced January 6th, according to Cindy. But Cindy, if you want to share more, please pop in.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see your faces unexpectedly, even in a chaotic time. It seems sometimes we do this. So we've got a lot of virtual opportunities coming up. So as your reward for coming today and being such good team players, you get a sneak peek of what we're working on. Being that we're going, oh, doesn't it though? Thanks, Steve Ram. As we are going into Montreal, we realized that some people can't come. So we're going to amp up our virtual opportunities this year. So we're doing between January and the first 2 weeks of February, we're going to do 4 opportunities for virtual one-on-ones for people to meet up. We're also going to do 2 virtual elevator rides, and those are just what they sound like. We've all been to Folk Alliance where we make our best friend, our connection, or maybe even a future partner in the elevator. So we do that. We do that as a virtual component. We get together 2 times for an hour each time and randomize people, putting them in rooms together and giving them an opportunity to just chat and get to know each other. And hopefully there's a connection there that you meet a first timer. There is nothing that prohibits saying, hey, I'm Jeff. I love Folk Alliance. I have a huge interest in first timers because I know that we can get lost in the mix. If anybody wants to use me, let's set up another time to talk. I know for me, during my time away from Folk Alliance, I did that all the time because I just love first timers. They remind us what it's like when we get tired and their adrenaline's still going, right? They give us those professional and soulful vitamins that we need. So those opportunities will be available prior to the conference. And then, of course, at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, shameless pitch right here. Jared, myself, and whoever we bring into it will be doing the first timers orientation on site. And so, Jeff, don't worry, I'll be coming back to you to ask if you'd like to be a table host to take in some newcomers at that time, as well as Bob Weiser, who I see on here, and a bunch of other familiar faces. So don't worry, you'll get voluntold opportunities that will come up with. I just learned that phrase, by the way, and I really, really like it. You'll get asked to volunteer with a very convincing ask to love on the newcomers. But look for your inboxes to have positive things on January 6th. Coming from the Folk Alliance about virtual opportunities, and then also some on-site first-timer opportunities. And I'll pass it back to Jen.
I don't know if I have anything more to say.
I would just like to add that we're going to have a frequently asked questions doc, and I'm going to update it with all the questions that have been put in the chat today to the best of my ability, so that so please refer to that document first. That should have most of the information that anyone could possibly need. And if that doesn't work, then you're free to email us as well.
There are a couple more questions that came up in the chat. Is there an after party on Sunday? Yes. I believe that's our only programming on Sunday. This is one of the decisions we made to relieve our team. We are just doing the after party cafe campus that Cindy put up. We're excited about that. Meetups for managers, we will have peer sessions. So that schedule, as Cindy put in the chat, is coming out in early January. But we will have peer sessions for managers, agents, presenters, all the normal folks that we historically have those sessions for. Yes, and she is busy remapping all that data over. I can see her smiling as she does it. Thank you. I think I have something to close this out. I will read. Thank you. I really appreciate all your questions and taking the time to join us today. We know this change comes with a lot of challenges, but we deeply appreciate your patience, understanding, and support. Our team is here to help with any additional concerns. Just as Scott said, don't hesitate to reach out to us or refer to the FAQ document. And we look forward to seeing you in Montreal. And I don't know, in 2 short months. I'm not sure how many weeks away. I'm not counting down. It's too stressful. But we're super excited to see you in Montreal. Bring your coats and your scarves, hats, and gloves. Get ready to enjoy. The last time we were in Montreal, they had the biggest snowstorm they had seen in decades. And let me tell you, that city knows how to deal with snow. It was not a big deal at all. Bring your toque. We may have a toque or two that you can purchase if you forget one. For those that don't speak Canadian, that is a hat. And oh, we spelled it wrong. Toque, T-O-Q-U-E. At least we know what it. We spell things phonetically here. And your ice clogs too. Whatever you need to bring. The great thing is that we will be warm together. 16 inches on Tuesday morning. Was that what it was? French. So I love the chat. You all are the best. I'm really excited to spend time with you in person in a couple months and to see you online in advance of the conference. We will see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy your holidays.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all. Look at all these great faces.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Absolutely, Mary Catherine. Thank you.